Hey guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Today I want to talk about the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, I went to the mall today, and sadly I see more stores closing down today. I see people packing up the stores and getting out of the mall. And some of them are big brand names like Dickies. There's some other places there too that are getting ready to close. And we had one of the restaurants there that's one of my favorite restaurants tell us that they're that close to closing down. If things don't pick up soon, they're closing down. So the economy here is getting pretty busted up in some sections. In our sections, it's one of those places, but it's pretty much nationwide, I would say. Because up in Manila, when I went to the Conrad building, they were having a hard time too. I think a lot of the Western restaurants might just pack up and leave and just get out of here. McDonald's can survive anywhere. So when I say Western restaurants, I'm not really talking about McDonald's, Burger King, or any of those, or Wendy's. They're still doing fairly decent. They're doing fairly decent, but those are like regular. You could have a nuclear disaster and you'd see people lined up at McDonald's, So I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just they're going to survive no matter what because those places stay alive. But some of these other Western restaurants, unfortunately, I think they're going to start closing. And I think the Conrad building is going to become a shell because the Conrad building up in Mall of Asia used to be, pretty big there. And when I walk through there, it's a ghost town. It's, there's no other words about it. It's a ghost town. When you walk through there, there's nobody in there. And with just takeout there now, it's making it worse. And with no tourists here, disaster. Unmitigated disaster, and a lot of these places, when I walk into these places, it's not the same, and I think this is the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest with you. For a lot of people, this is going to send a lot of people out in the streets and out of work, okay, and I'm seeing it now. I think this is it. Some people might argue with me and say, no, Steve, I'm down here in this area, or I'm down in that area. I think this is going to start spreading, as we start getting more of these lockdowns for different variants and stuff like that. And they seem to be sticking with this, that this is the policy that they want to do. And I'm not putting down the government by no means. I'm saying they're doing what they feel they have to do. But a lot of other countries are starting to back off that because they're seeing the economies fall apart and they don't want that to happen. So they're trying to save their companies and do what they need to do to. And the Philippines is kind of doing that in their own way. They're doing, instead of having a total ECQ, they're having a modified ECQ in some areas because they don't want to close down these places and just say, okay, we're going to shut them down for 15 to 30 days or whatever, And they're trying to slow down something that's really hemorrhaging, And I'm not sure it's going to help, I mean. When I talked to one of the people there that's an assistant manager at one of the stores, and I asked him, I says, are you guys going to make it through this? And he just says, I don't think so. It's very slow here. And I says, are you going to close down like these other stores like Fry's and More and Bonchon and all these other places and Dickies? I says, are you going to be like that too? And he says, probably, sir, probably. And when I heard that, I was kind of like brokenhearted because that's one of the restaurants that I use here in town. And if it's probably the number one restaurant I go to. And if that place closes down, I don't like a lot of the other places here in town. I will go to some other restaurants, but when your favorite restaurant closes down, that's kind of like devastating for you if you're living in a foreign country because that's one of your favorite places. And they have a lot of choices there too. I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant, but it is kind of scary, And for me, if I want to go to that restaurant now, I have to go all the way over to Das Marinas and go over there to use the restaurant over there. So that's huge. So there is a lot of bad things happening right now. Even when I was in S&R, it was very slow there today. I noticed it was very, very slow in the mall today. Very slow. It's becoming like a ghost town. There was more employees there than there were customers, I would say, from what I could see, And when it gets like that, it's getting bad. And I think that this MECQ is the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm not putting down the government. I'm just saying it's the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, people are trying to do what they're trying, whatever they're trying to do. I'm not saying bad or good. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying this is the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm not sure that they're going to pull out of this, because a lot of these franchises are just going to say goodbye. We're done with this, because, you know, what happens next time if we rebuild a restaurant there or something like that? What's going to happen next time something like this comes out? What are we going to do? You know what I mean? They're going to start questioning about building some of these things in some countries because of the way things get managed. So I think a lot of the franchises are going to wave goodbye to some of these countries that are doing this. And I'm not specifically saying the Philippines. I'm saying countries in general. You know, a lot of these places, these franchises are just going to say, you know what, I'm done with this. We can't take this anymore. You know, they did this to us. They didn't try to help us. They didn't really care. You know, they destroyed us. You know, and a lot of these people are going to be out looking for jobs now. And unfortunately, you know, the other day they said 166,000 in the Manila area were going to go into deeper poverty, but they weren't including all the other places. That was just in Manila. You know, they weren't including all the other towns outside and around Manila that were going into the same thing. I think we're going to lose probably like 1 million people that are going to go into deep poverty, starvation, hunger, not being able to take care of their bodies properly, not being able to see a doctor because you have no money, all that. So this is bad, guys. You know, I'm really concerned here. I usually don't say that much on here. I'm not trying to do this for extra views. You know, a lot of you guys are hoping to come over here and still want to come over here. I still love the Philippines. It holds a special place in my heart. I hope that this turns around, but this might take years to get out of. You know, it might take years. I'm afraid. You know, I really am. You know, this when I was walking around Dasma the other day and I saw more places boarding up, you know, upstairs, a lot of the people out of work, you know, and I'm sure some of those places upstairs are going to just close down too, because you can only take so much of this. You know, like I said, the straw that broke the camel's back. I think this is the straw that broke a lot of camels' backs. You know, I think we're pretty much done. You know, I think the economy is going to start faltering now over here. And I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But I think we're going to start seeing some things. I think the Forex, my buddy's saying we'll see 56 probably this year, maybe 60 fairly soon after. I hope he's right and wrong in some ways. I would like to see the economy come back here. I'm just not sure it's going to happen. You know, because when we get off this modified ECQ, we're just going to go into another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And it just never ends. And I thought we were almost free there for a while, but we weren't. You know, I see this going till the end of the year, possibly even more, because of this variant. And you know, some countries are backing off the variant, saying we're not going with this stuff again. We're not doing this again. You know, we're not. You know, Denmark said no. Singapore said no. People are starting to wake up. They're waking up. I hope to God that some of these Asian countries wake up too. You know, I really do. Sadly, I don't think they will till it's too late. We'll see how things go, guys. Let's see how things go. I'm not happy about this, and I'm not going to sound all pessimistic about this and say, oh, you know, we're going to make it through this and all that stuff. I don't see us coming through this that well. I don't see us coming through this that well. I just don't. When you close down 25 to 30% of your stores, and places that I used to go to, like the Muslim market here in town, totally closed down. You know, I mean, I used to go to this place where they had all kinds of like knickknacks and stuff. You could buy combs and flip-flops and stuff like that. All those stores are gone. All gone. You know, a lot of the little people that used to sell stuff on the side of the road, totally gone. Gone. A lot of the roadside stores, gone. Massage parlors, barely even running. You know, some of the barber shops are even suffering. Manicure places, all suffering. I mean, what does that say? You know, and if we, like I said, when we come out of this modified ECQ, if we even come out of it this time, we might even extend it again. You know, that's what might happen. So we go into a GCQ. We're still in a quarantine somewhat, you know, and you're still kind of holding people back from going full bore into the stores and saying, all right, we're back to normal. We don't have to wear our masks anymore. We don't have to do this. I understand people are going to get sick. I fully understand that. I get it. You know, if we don't get these people vaccinated or whatever they need to get soon, this is going to be a disaster. And I think some of these countries that are not there yet, they really need to push on these people. Hey, listen, get out there and get it done or whatever. Get to that 70%. But, you know, then they push these other variants and stuff saying, well, you know, people with the that were vaccinated are still getting this stuff or whatever. And that's what concerns me a little bit, you know. And these variants are kind of like a lesser thing. It's more contagious, but it's lesser. It's more like a cold or a light flu or whatever, from what I'm hearing from a lot of people. Everybody says a different thing. You know, and some of the news out there, it's like you don't even know what to trust anymore from anybody, you know, and it gets kind of worrisome. But let me say this. If we're putting 1 million people into deeper poverty, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Remember, the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, when you have 1 million people in poverty, going into poverty, deeper poverty than what they were, it might not be worth it. You know, for me, I don't think it's worth it, you know. And for these other countries that are doing the same thing, good luck, you know. I mean, I don't want to sound like Mr. Doom and Gloom here, but it's not looking good, you know, not looking good. If you took a walk to the malls here, you'd see what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, they won't let me do videos in there. I could do it, but I risk getting booted out because before they stop me. I did get a partial video upstairs of some of the stuff that was closed at SM Tracy. But there's a lot more than that now. A lot more. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.